Ellie, wake up. We have to go to the airport.
Leave me alone, I'm tired.
We are flying to Italy.
Did you just say Italy? Did I just come to my favorite place in Europe?
Venice. You're the most romantic city I've visited so far. It is the main city of the Veneto region in Italy that is built on 118 islands. Back in medieval times, Venice was an independent republic that lasted for more than 1,000 years. We'll share the 2 days itinerary for this marvelous city with you. So, let's start with day 1. In 1987, Venice and its lagoon were assigned a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Before the COVID-19, 5 million tourists visited Venice every year. Certainly, the number of visitors dropped after 2020, but we still saw the crowds almost everywhere in Venice. It's our second time in this romantic city, and hopefully not the last one.
This is the first time I'm showing you guys such an excitement. You know why? One day I told Roma that I want to get old in Venice. And after a few years I came back, and honestly I'm not sure if it will ever be possible.
It's all because Venice is sinking by 2 millimeters every year. The scientists predict the city to vanish in the next 50 or 70 years. What's more, the population in Venice is decreasing year by year. Guys, you have to see this unique city at least once in your life. So hurry up and book your stay in Venice as soon as possible. We landed at Treviso Airport and had to take the bus and train to get to the main station in Venice. So, we just arrived to Santa Lucia, the main train station in Venice. Actually, you can get to any city in Italy from here. Venice, Florence, Rome, Naples, wherever you want. Isn't it cool? That's the ticket machine where you can purchase your ride. The The first thing you'll see when you leave the station is the Grand Canal, the largest and most famous in Venice. It connects two districts of Venice. We started our journey with Cannaregio district. As for me, it's the second best district in the city. The first place I wanted to check in the Cannaregio district was a home of a famous traveler who was a Venetian.
You know, when I travel to any country in the world, I have a tradition. I love checking the homes of famous people. So in Venice, I came to check the Marco Polo's house. So he lived here until 1271, and then he went on the legendary expedition. So he came back to Venice and got caught by Genoese navy and sent to the prison. There he met a storyteller who was just fascinated by the tales of the explorer and wrote down his stories and made it the bestseller. So now millions of people come here to see the legendary house of the legendary person.
Did you know that Venice is a home for the first Jewish ghetto in Europe? I didn't. So I decided to search for more info and find a neighborhood. By the way, it's located in Cannaregio. The neighborhood has a kosher restaurant, Jewish shops, a museum, a social center. Also, I found one of the synagogues, but I didn't go inside because of the crowd. The ghetto was kinda a melting pot, as the Jews who settled there came from all over Europe. I heard that there are only 400 Jews left in the city today. In 2016, Jewish Ghetto celebrated its 500th anniversary. Also, the Cannaregio district is the place where you can find the narrowest street in Venice. We were so curious to see it.
As you see, Venice is full of narrow streets and it makes the city so charming. We just found the narrowest street in Venice. It's only 52 centimeters. Hopefully, I will fit there.
By the way, you won't be hungry in Italy, as there are bakeries, pizzerias, and cafes almost everywhere you go.
Did you know that Italians do not eat pizza all the time? It's such a stereotype. I saw people ordering pasta, spaghetti, all of this stuff, but I also saw them ordering these mini sandwiches. So basically it's the dough, omelette, olive, sausages, and there are a lot of tastes, so you can choose. It's all up to you. It tastes okay, but for me, pizza margherita and pizza romana are the most delicious. Guys, I crossed around 40 bridges in just 1 hour. There are hundreds of bridges in Venice, and I want to show you the most famous and the most significant ones. So the first one is the Rialto Bridge, which is just behind me. This is kind of a symbol of Venice unity, as it connects two parts of Venice. Initially, it was a series of boats with wooden planks on the top, and its final construction, which you see right now, was ended at the end of 16th century. Being in Venice, it's impossible to miss the most beautiful square in the world, the heart of Venice, Piazza San Marco. By the way, it is the only piazza, which means square, in Venice, because all of the other squares are called piazzale or campos. Maybe it's all because of the importance of this one.
The square houses 5 iconic buildings: St. Mark's Basilica, Doge's Palace, Campanile, which is the bell tower of Basilica, Museum of Correo, and Torre del Orologio. So, St. Mark's Basilica. It was built in the 9th century for saving stolen sacred relics. Can you believe that?
So, the Venetian merchants stole the body of St. Mark's in Alexandria, Egypt. And there is a legend that when they tried to transport the body to Venice, they faced a huge storm, like really bad. And it is said that St. Mark came to the captain and said to lower the sails. The merchants were saved, and they said it was a miracle. So actually you can see the story inside of the basilica. It's pictured on the 13th century icon.
Let's go inside. Guys, now I want you to look up. Do you see those golden frescoes and icons? It's not a glidden, it's a real gold. How impressive is that? That's why the basilica is also called the Golden Church. When I looked at these golden mosaics, the first thing I noticed was the Byzantine features. You can go upstairs and purchase the ticket to the San Marco Museum. The entrance fee is €7 per person. The exhibition includes mosaics, Persian carpets, musical instruments, books, silk tapestries with the stories of Saint Mark, who is the patron of the city, and a lot more. Besides, Venetians celebrate St. Mark's Day on April 25th. There is a tradition which is called Polo. So, Venetian men offer rosebuds to their wives or girlfriends, and you can see plenty of red roses in St. Mark's Square on this day. History from Ali. After the First Crusade, Constantinople was conquered, and as a result, a lot of relics, jewelry, treasures, icons were shipped to Venice, including famous bronze horses, which you see right there. You see, everyone is making the photos of 4 bronze horses. Do they know that those are fake? Because in 1980s, the real ones were replaced with the fake ones. line to enter the St. Mark's Basilica. We were lucky to come here earlier and enter the Basilica within a few minutes. You can also climb to the top of St. Mark's Bell Tower. Actually, this is a reconstructed campanile since the original one collapsed in 1902.
Next one is the Doge's Palace. I want to provide you with an analogy. So imagine any parliament or maybe a palace in your country, depends on where you live. So Doge's Palace was the place where all of the important decisions were taken and where the Doge lived. And what impressed me the most was the fact that they had a prison inside, in the underground chambers. Can you imagine this building having the prisons inside? I can't. Anyway, they also had a chamber of torment where all the prisoners were waiting for the questionnaires for their turn to be questioned. So, what they heard there? They heard the screaming, yelling inside, but it was fake because all of the screams were made by the paid actors just to increase the terror, and that's it. But and one more point about the palace: not everyone could enter the Doge's Palace, because if you are the civil servant or the member of the noble family, only in this case you can go inside. The next bridge on our bucket list is the Bridge of Sighs. Why is it called so and what was it used for? So the prisoners were held in the Doge's Palace here, and the number of prisoners grew rapidly year by year, and they had to expand it to the building across the canal. So it was called the new prison. So the Bridge of Sighs was constructed to shuttle the prisoners from their trial to their cells. And as for the name, it is said that when the prisoners were shuttled to the new prison, they had the last glimpse in Venice, and that's why it's the Bridge of Sighs. I would say it's kind of a romantic story, but it's not.
It's the biggest disappointment of this year. My favorite composer, Antonio Vivaldi, was giving his concerts in this chapel. I've been playing the violin since forever, and I wanted to go inside and feel the atmosphere of classical music and to walk in a place where my favorite composer walked and played. There is one more reason for me to come back, I guess. If you're a musician or a Vivaldi fan, make sure to check this chapel out and let me know your thoughts. What if someone falls down in a canal? What is the depth? I heard that almost all of them are 1.5 or 2 meters deep, but the Grand Canal is 5 meters deep. I would drown there. Yeah, I would. What's the best time to visit Venice? I would say anytime from March to October. If you come here between November and January, you may face an Aqua Alta, the flooding. Now we are heading to the last bridge I'd like to show you, Ponte dell'Accademia.
Wow! It's one of the oldest wooden bridges in Venice. Ponte dell'Accademia, or bridge of the Accademia. So it also connects to islands, and there is Gallery Accademia on the other side. I think it's connected somehow. We are filming this episode in 2021, and 1 year ago, the whole world faced a horrible pandemic, COVID-19, and Italy had one of the biggest number of infected people, and I think the streets of Venice have never been so quiet. So why did I tell you this? The quarantine was invented in Venice back in 14th century. Venice earned its money on trading by sea, so all of the ships that docked in the city, they had to stay 40 days on the isolated island because they could bring the diseases. And in case of anyone from the family members were infected, they were also sent on the isolated island. And if after 40 days the symptoms, the signs of the infection passed, you're free to go. And as for the current situation here, the streets are crowded again. There are actually less people than before the pandemic times, but still, if you go to San Marco Square, to Rialto Bridge, oh!
Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. Please let us know what you like the most about our first day in Venice. In the next episode, we'll take a ferry to Burano Island, tell you the history of Venetian gondolas, and show you the best panoramic viewpoints. So, stay tuned and travel with the Worldest!